Welcome to the Wealthy Woman's Podcast, a podcast for high-achieving women who are great at making money but struggle to build wealth. You'll learn how to take control of your money, increase your net worth, and make more. Ladies, it's time to create a life with more money and more freedom. Let's dive in. Well, hello there. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you all are having a great week so far. And today we're talking about the 3 levels of financial awareness. This topic is so important because I know so many of you are working hard, trying to get your money together, trying to save, trying to pay off debt, trying to invest more and make more. And sometimes you make progress and then maybe something happens and you kind of take a few steps back. You know that old saying, I take 2 steps forward and then 3 steps back. Well, this episode is going to really help you to understand why this happens. This is a part of growth. This is a part of progression, and nothing has gone wrong if you still make mistakes with money. If you still find yourself in situations where you're spending more than you want to, when you're overgiving, when you're just not making the financial decisions that you know that you truly want to make. And this episode is going to help you to really give yourself some grace, to really give yourself mercy, and to help you to keep going because this is all part of the plan. This is a part of growth. This is a part of evolution. And if you can understand these levels of awareness that I'm going to teach you today, you will then start to understand your behaviors and why it's not this linear thing where you just learn this information and get it right automatically. Okay. Now, before we get started, I want to start with the definition of what awareness means. Simply put, awareness is just to become conscious of something, to become awake to something, to notice something, to no longer live unconsciously, to no longer live with your eyes closed, but to be very vigilant and awake and aware and knowledgeable about what is happening with your finances. Now, what I'm going to share with you about these levels of awareness can apply to any area of your life. And as I explain, you'll see what I mean. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive into the levels of awareness. Now, before I get to the 3 levels, I have to talk to you about level 0. Level 0 is where you have no awareness at all. Okay. And most of you are probably not there because you're listening to this podcast. When you have 0 level of awareness, you can overspend, you can overgive, or do all sorts of things with your money that prevent you from moving towards your goals, that prevent you from building wealth, and you don't even think twice about it. You just keep it moving like nothing happened. And I call this the pre-awareness phase because this is happening before you really start prioritizing your financial well-being. This is happening before you start really coming to terms with, okay, I need to do something with my money. I need to change something. I want to start building wealth. I want to start saving. I want to start paying off this debt. I want to start investing more. I want to make more money. I want to create additional streams of income. This is happening prior to all of this awakening. This is happening prior to this newfound desire of really getting your money under control and really starting to take action on that. Okay. So many of you are probably not here because people who are at level 0, they're not listening to podcasts about money. They're not paying attention to their money. They're avoiding it altogether. They're like, I have a short life to live and I'm going to live it up and I don't care. I'll deal with my finances later. A lot of us have been there. I know I have in the past, but once you start to listen to that desire, that innate desire inside of you to be more, to have more when it comes to finances, to do better with your money, to start building wealth, you then progress to level 1. And many of you are probably at level 1 right now. Let me explain what level 1 is. So level 1 is where you have awareness after the fact. So what happens is you complete an action, right? You may overspend, you may overgive, or do something else that prevents you from progressing towards your financial goals. And you do the entire act unconsciously. And then after the fact, you may feel some remorse, regret, or guilt. And when you really dig into why you're feeling that way, you realize it's because you didn't handle your money the way you really wanted to. You did not do what your higher self, what your prefrontal cortex wants you to do with your money. And this is level 1 of awareness. And it is a beautiful place to be because this is the beginning of consciousness. This is where you start to really notice your behavior, even after you've done it. And this is where you can really learn to grow because you get to learn from the best teacher. Experience, right? And you grow. And so the next time you're in a situation that's similar to the one you just got out of, you'll know how to navigate it better. And you don't continue to make the same mistakes again. So here's something about level 1 that I want you to know. This is not a level that you can just leapfrog over. This is not a level where you do it once, you learn, and then you never do it again. I know many of us want it to be this way, but remember, we are human beings. We have been living our lives a certain way when it comes to our money for decades. Our brains are programmed to do certain things with money. And the things that your brain is doing with money may not be what you want it to do, right? But there is a neural pathway in your brain that is like, no, this is how we do things. And it may take a while for you to create a new neural pathway where you do something different. So you want to give yourself grace. You want to embrace progress over perfection and understand that you may be in level 1 for longer than you want. And that is okay. Do not beat yourself up if you find yourself here because it's better to be at level 1 than to be at level 0. So let me give you an example of what it could look like to be at level 1. And we're going to use the same example for all 3 levels. So you go to Target and you are going in there for toothpaste and shampoo. Literally, that's all you're going in there for. And if you're at level 0, you go in there and you buy all the things, maybe $200 worth of stuff. You do get the toothpaste, you do get the shampoo, but you buy a whole bunch of other stuff, you leave, and then you don't even think twice about it. That's level 0, okay? That's level 0. And you go on about your way. Now, level 1, this is how it goes down. You go into Target, you have toothpaste and shampoo on your shopping list, and you see all the things. You see all the pretty things, all the new stuff, right? And you buy all of it. You buy $200 worth of stuff. So the actions are the same in level 1 and level 0. The actions are completely the same. Now, what's different is what happens after the fact. In level 0, you don't think twice about it. You go on about your merry way and boom, you just keep it moving. But in level 1, after the fact, after the high of the buy goes down, you may have some guilt. You may go home. You may check your account. You may see that you spent way more than you wanted to. You really were only intending to spend maybe $20 or $30 and you spent $200. You feel guilt. You feel remorse. You feel maybe even some shame and you wonder why. You don't just let that feeling be there. You don't just let those feelings be there. You wonder, you get curious, like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling guilty? Why am I feeling ashamed? And then if you do that, a lot of times just journaling down. Whenever I feel a negative emotion and I'm unsure of why I'm feeling that way, I just get a piece of paper. It doesn't even have to be in a journal. I just get a piece of paper and I literally write the question. I'm feeling guilty. Why? And then I just allow myself to write. And for many of you, when you do that after feeling guilty or remorseful or ashamed after overspending, you'll find that, because you were planning to pay off debt with that money, but you spent it, or you were planning to save, but you spent it. You spent more than you wanted to spend. And that in itself is such a powerful exercise. That is level 1 awareness, because you are like, oh my gosh, I acted on this. I felt guilty about it. and I don't want to do that anymore. And you can, at that point, decide, okay, how do I want to behave next time? Next time I go into Target just for toothpaste and shampoo, how do I want to behave? Now, you may not get that far after the first few episodes of this, but eventually you will. But I hope you understand now the difference between level 0 and level 1. This is why it's so important to pay attention to your emotions, to pay attention to your feelings, to pay attention to why you don't feel good inside. Because it's just your consciousness, it's your higher self trying to tell you, hey, we're doing something we really don't want to be doing right now. You did something that is not going to help you build wealth. You're doing something that's going against your ability to create financial well-being. Okay. Now, this is the kind of work we do in the Wealthy Woman's Academy, or if you work with me privately. Remember, if you want help with moving through these levels of awareness, if you want help actually understanding why you behave the way you do with money and then changing that behavior, then guess what? You are invited to join me inside of the Wealthy Woman's Academy or to work with me privately as one of my private clients. All you have to do is go to the show notes or go to jermainefoley.com/WWA to book a consultation so that we can chat about how I could help you to really implement all of the things we're going to talk about today. Okay, now let's move on to level number 2. Level number 2 is awareness in the moment. This is when you actually catch yourself in the act. You're in the process of doing something like overspending, overgiving, or doing something else that will move you further away from your financial goals. And while you're in the act, you become awake and conscious to it. And before you complete the act, you actually stop yourself. You consciously notice what you're doing in the moment and you pivot and make another decision instantly. This is a very hard thing to do, okay? Because think about it. Let's go back to our Target example. You're at Target, you're there for shampoo and toothpaste, and you see all the pretty things. And you have them in your cart and you're heading to the checkout and you catch yourself. Imagine what that's like, right? Because now it's like, oh my God, I have all these things. What am I going to do with all this stuff? You could even be putting your stuff on the conveyor belt for the cashier to check you out and catch yourself. And then you have to contend with your brain saying, you can't put this stuff back. You can't change your mind now. You're too far in. You might as well keep going, right? That's why this is so hard. Level 2 is so hard. And if you find yourself in level 2, you are doing some amazing work, okay? Because that means you are finding consciousness in the act of doing something that you don't really want to do. It's pretty amazing. So the example is, again, you're at Target, you find the things that you need, but you find a whole bunch of other stuff that you don't need. You have $200 worth of stuff in your cart and you literally decide, I'm walking out. I'm leaving this cart right where it is, or I'm going to tell this lady who's ringing me up that actually I only want these 2 things. That is a huge act. And if you do this, if you find yourself doing this, you need to give yourself a pat on the back because that is very badass. Very, very badass. I'm just saying, y'all. So don't look at this as, oh my God, this is so embarrassing, or what are people going to think about me? No, think of it like, no, this is badass. Like I am pivoting in the middle of doing something that I know I shouldn't be doing. And I am mustering up the courage. I am mustering up the confidence to do something different in the moment. That is awesome. Okay. Now, this level of awareness, like I said, is amazing and awesome because what you're doing is you are consciously becoming aware in the moment, but you're pausing before you actually take action, which means you're not spending the money. You're not overgiving the money. You're not doing the thing. And so there will be no consequences to deal with on the back end. And you get to still learn a lot from what made you put yourself in that position in the first place, right? You can take that experience just like you do in level 1 and decide, okay, what do I want to do differently next time? What do I want to do before I go into Target next time? This is a great place to be because now you've progressed from level 1 where you actually take action and have to deal with the consequences, right? You feel the guilt, you feel the remorse, you don't have the money, maybe you went into credit card debt, you spent money that you wanted to do something else with, right? So you have to deal with the consequence in level 1, but in level 2, you don't. And you still get to learn from the experience. You still get to say, okay, how do I want to handle it next time? So I'm not walking around the store with all this stuff in my cart and then I have to put it back, or I have to just leave the cart abandoned somewhere in the corner of the store, or where I'm, telling the cashier, never mind. Like, how do I not put myself here next time? And that brings us to level 3. So level 3 is what I call awareness ahead of time. This is where you prepare yourself ahead of time so that you don't get into a situation where you could overspend, overgive, or do something else that will push you further from your financial goals. What you're doing in this level is you're putting your prefrontal cortex in charge and using all of your learnings from past experiences from level 0, from level 1, and level 2, and you prepare yourself before you enter the situation. An example of this is, okay, I know I'm going into Target, I need shampoo, and I need toothpaste. So this is what it can look like at level 3. You can literally have a conversation with yourself. Jermaine, or whoever you are, you can say, I'm going into Target. We're only going in here for shampoo and toothpaste. You're going to see all kinds of things that you want, but we're not doing it. We're not buying it. We're going in to buy these 2 things. If you see something you like on the way, you have to come back and get it another time. And this is how much we're spending. We're only spending $20 to $30. That's it. Now, you also are going to understand that when you get in, your brain, your primitive brain, isn't going to want to follow that plan, but you tell yourself, I'm going to follow it anyway. So it's like you're expecting the toddler brain to revolt, right? You're going in there for toothpaste and shampoo, and you know that the toddler part of your brain is going to want all the other things, but you're like, no, I'm going in there for these 2 things. So you almost have a talk with yourself. Another way you can handle this is, I'm just going to order my shampoo and my toothpaste from Amazon. It'll be here later today or tomorrow. Like, you could just not even go into the store. You can do that too. Be careful with that one, because I am not about avoiding those kinds of situations just because you think you can't handle it. But I am about ordering things and having it delivered to your home if it's more convenient for you, if it's going to save you time, and you don't want to be bothered with walking through stores, right? So you could pick either one, but these are just examples of how when you're at level 3, you don't even put yourself in the situation where you have to stop in the middle of it, or where you actually overspend, overgive, or do something else that you don't want to do with your money. You have a plan ahead of time. You learn from all of the different situations you've been in the past and say, you know what? I know what it's like to go into Target. I already know I'm going to see a ton of things that I want, and I'm not doing it. And if I do see things that I want, I'm going to put time and space in between me seeing that thing and impulsively buying it. I'm going to put 24 hours in between that act. Okay. So this is what it means to move through the levels of financial awareness. Now, you can use this concept for all areas of your life, around food, around relationships. I'll give you a quick example around relationships. Let's say you are married or you have a significant other and you find that you guys argue a lot, right? So level 1 would be you argue, and after it, maybe you say some things that you didn't want to say during the argument, and then afterwards you feel a little guilt, you feel some remorse, you feel some shame, and you're like, why do I feel this way? And it's because, oh, you said this and that. Then it's just like, oh, okay, how do I want to act next time? So that's level 1. By the way, level 0 is you say all the things and you don't care. You have no remorse, no guilt, and you're just like, whatever, I said it, that's the end of it. Now, level 2 is you're in an argument, you're feeling the emotions, you're feeling upset, you know you're about to go in, and then you just say, you know what? I'm going to zip my lips. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say something that I'm going to regret. I'm not going to say something that could hurt his or her feelings. I'm going to just pause, right? That's level 2, where you're in the act and then you pivot and then you notice what you're about to do and you stop. This is the hardest part, you all. This is so hard to do. But when you're in level 2, I'm in level 2 with some relationships right now where it's just like, I feel the emotions. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel it. And then I just pause. Okay. So that's level 2. And then level 3 is when you're like, you know what? I feel this conversation needs to be had. And I'm going in with love. I'm going in with curiosity. And even if this person wants to argue with me, I'm not giving in. I'm not indulging in that. And here's the saying that I love. You do not have to attend every argument that you're invited to. That's my motto now for a lot of relationships. And so even when that person is a little riled up, irritated, or irritable, I know that I don't have to match that energy. I can go in calm, out of love and out of curiosity to understand what's going on with that person. That's how you can actually use this concept in a relationship. You can also use it with food. Food is very similar to spending, right? Level 1 is you eat the food and you feel like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. Level 2 is you're about to eat the food. You may have the cake on your plate and you're like, ooh, it looks so good. But you know what? I'm going to leave this cake here. I'm not even going to indulge in it. And level 3 is you make a plan. Like, I'm going to this party. I know there's going to be all the food, all the desserts, and I'm only going to allow myself to have this or that. And then you follow through with your plan. Okay. So those are the levels of awareness and how you can actually apply it to other areas of your life. Because here's what I want you to know. I want you to remember that I'm not just a money coach. I am a life coach. And so if you hire me privately, you get to get coaching on your life and your money, right? So if you want your own life coach who can help you with every area of your life, including your money, then book a private call with me. All you have to do is go to the show notes and click on book a consultation. And let's have a conversation on how you can change not only your financial life, but your life in general. And if you really just want to focus on your money, we can do that privately or inside of the Wealthy Woman's Academy. And you can go to jermainefoley.com/WWA to book a consultation so we can talk about how we can work together towards helping you to reach the goals you have, the financial goals you have, so that you can build wealth while still enjoying your life at the same time. I hope this episode was helpful. I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, before you go, if you're ready to create a life with more money and more freedom, then you're invited to join the Wealthy Woman's Academy, my signature coaching program where you'll learn how to take control of your money and build wealth without sacrificing your lifestyle. To get started, head on over to jermainefoley.com/WWA. That's Jermaine with a G. See you over there. Bye-bye.